Hello, Abnormal Investigations. Good to see everybody. Oh, man. Well, we got Travis Carpenter was on the show. I hope you all liked him. He'll also be put on our Spotify channel. Go check out our Spotify, guys. We've got a lot of our stuff over there. A lot of Travis Carpenter. We got Amanda's over there. We've got Jesus Pyam Jr.'s over there. We have a lot that we're adding over there. A lot of people are streaming them. It's picking up a lot faster than I thought it would. Go subscribe to our Spotify. You're going to love it. You can drive around and listen to Abnormal Investigations, and you can catch some of our favorite lives. Let's get into this encounter. As I sit here reflecting on that fateful night, I am still trying to process what my friend and I saw on that winding mountain road. It's a memory that has stayed with me for years, and one that I will never forget. It was a typical evening in the western North Carolina Appalachians, with the sun having dipped below the horizon hours earlier. My friend and I were driving home in her truck, winding our way through the dark mountainous roads. The only sound was the hum of the engine and the occasional crunch of gravel beneath the tires. As we rounded a particularly sharp bend, we noticed another truck heading toward us. Suddenly, it swerved into our lane, and my friend slammed on the brakes, laying on the horn, and at the same time, the other truck crept back over into its own lane, and we breathed a sigh of relief as we almost hit head-on. Shaken, we slowly began moving forward again, and that's when we saw it. It was a huge deer carcass laying in the road, and crouched over it was an enormous animal. My friend put her brights on, and we got a good look at this creature, Mike. Unmistakable. It was like nothing you would ever imagine. It's worse than the movies, worse than what we imagined. Maybe not because it looks worse, but because it's standing there, it's real, and it's breathing. It had the body of a wolf, but it was gigantic. The front legs were long and muscular, with very little fur on them. I had worked with wolves before, but I had never seen one this huge. It was bent over the deer carcass, eating it, not even afraid to move for us. As we drove by slowly to go around, the creature looked up at us, and we're thinking this is just a large wolf at this time. The headlights caught it fully, and we saw its black fur, muscular forearms, and piercing golden orange eyes. Those eyes were what really caught our attention. They looked eerily human. My friend and I both let out a gasp. We were stunned. My friend kept driving, and we turned to look at each other. Without saying a word, we both knew what the other was thinking. We looked at each other, and in unison, we both said, "That's an effing werewolf." My friend was not the same, and she was not someone who believed in supernatural things. She was a skeptic, always looking for logical explanations. But what we saw that night was something that could not be explained. It was something that challenged everything we thought we knew about the world. I mean, yeah, we like to imagine things, but when you see something actually standing there, then you know it's real, and that changes everything. We drove the rest of the way home in silence. We were both trying to process what we had seen. We didn't talk about it again until much later. When we compared notes on what we had seen, it was as if we were both trying to convince ourselves that it had really happened. It wasn't until years later, when I had a similar encounter on my own backyard, that I began to research what I had seen. That's when I stumbled upon the legend of the Dogman. The Dogman is a creature reportedly seen in various parts of the United States. It's described as a hybrid of a dog and a man, standing upright on two legs. Some reports describe it as being incredibly large, with glowing eyes. As I read more about the Dogman, I realized that my friend and I had seen that night was no doubt on that mountain road a Dogman. The creature we saw was definitely human and dog-like. I'm still trying to make sense of what we saw that night. I don't know if I believe in supernatural things, but really, does this thing have to be supernatural to exist? Because it was as real as you or I. It was flesh and blood, and it was breathing, and it was chomping on that deer. Over the next few weeks, I found myself thinking about the encounter, Mike, more and more. I began to wonder if what I saw was really a werewolf, or if it was something else entirely. But the more I researched, the more I knew. I had witnessed a Dogman/werewolf. As I delved deeper into my research, I began to realize that there were many different legends and myths about these creatures. And here's the weird thing. It seemed the more that I dug into this, the more things started to happen in my home. Like dishes falling off the counter. Salt shakers in the morning moved around on the table. It was as if something supernatural was in the home. It's like, since I seen this werewolf, and I know this may not make sense to you, Mike, things haven't been the same. Shadowy figures in my home. The sound of howls outside. Seeing something out of the corner of my eye look like it crawls under the couch or around the couch. I don't know if I'm going crazy, if it got to me because I seen it and I'm just scared, but I'm seeing things, hearing things that should not be happening. Things are being moved that should not be moved. I don't know what to do, and I don't know what to think. Despite the many different legends and myths, I just couldn't get over the feeling that I had seen a real werewolf. My friend and I didn't talk much about the encounter after that night. We both seemed to be processing it. But one night I decided to reach out to her and ask her if she wanted to meet up and talk about the encounter. It was really eating on me. The more I studied, the more I wanted to know. And she agreed to meet me at the local coffee shop. As we sat down at the table, I could tell that she had a look of curiosity on her face, but also she had a look of fear. And I told her I'd been thinking about that night. And I said, we got to break the silence. And she said, I've been thinking about that night too. What do you think it was? I asked, leaning in to whisper to her so people didn't think we was totally crazy in this coffee shop. She shook her head. I don't know. I've been trying to come up with logical explanations, but nothing makes sense to me, she said. And I told her, I said, I know what you mean. I've been researching different legends and myths trying to figure out what we saw, and the only thing I can come up with is a Dogman werewolf. Have you found anything? I asked her. She just rolled her eyes and looked at me and said, the same damn thing. We both sat there and talked about that night, talked about how lucky we was that we didn't hit that truck, and if we would have, the creature have attacked us. What we saw, Mike, was just as real as if you're driving down the road and you seen a dog run out in front of you. So for all of you out there that drive these roads at night, you better be careful, because I'm telling you, these things haunt these roads. I hope that you all at least get something out of this encounter. I hear that a lot. And they say approximately 25% of people that have a cryptid encounter will have supernatural encounters. So I do not doubt one bit that you saw this creature in the road eating that deer. And I believe they are along the roads. I believe that they take the opportunity to get the road kills. Cows, deer, small rodents. And if you stop, you might be on the menu. What do you all think? Let me know. Thank you for listening, guys. Keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner. And thank you for supporting Abnormal Investigations. It means a lot to us.